Okay, today we're going to be taking apart a 3.5 liter Ford engine, naturally aspirated out of a Ford Edge. It failed at 177,000 miles, and I'm a little bit curious as to what exactly caused the engine failure. So we're just going to take it apart piece by piece, go over the disassembly, and see actually what failed. I know it's going to be something on cylinder 6. I'm pretty sure it broke piston rings. It had almost no compression on that cylinder. It was like 50 some PSI. And it had a pretty severe knock, which I'm thinking was piston slap, because it had more of a kick than more of a you know what I'm talking about. If you've heard rod knock in piston slap, you know the difference, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But we're going to take it apart, go to the disassembly, and we'll see exactly what caused this failure.
All right, we'll start off with the easy stuff. Cam sensors, there's 4, 1, 2, and then 2 on the other side. Buzz these off. It's just one 8 millimeter bolt, and then they'll pull out on each side. And you can swap these out while they're in the vehicle, but they are a little bit harder. There is some debris on there, which is to be expected. This is a little magnet. Next, the fuel rail. Again, just 8 millimeter bolts. There's 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, I took the injectors out with it because it's a little bit quicker. There's a little, 2 of them actually stayed. But if you're taking these out, if you're swapping out the injectors, to get this off without removing the injectors, there's a little clip here you got to pull out, and then they'll unplug from it. Here's a better picture of that little clip. You just grab it with a pick, and then you can hook it right here, and they'll pop off. Like that. That's what they look like. The intake manifold spacer. Again, just 8 millimeter bolts. There's 5 on each side. You know, it's a lot easier than replacing an engine in a Ford Edge or taking apart an engine. Putting in one of our paddle shifter kits. This video is sponsored by me. We make paddle shifters kits for 2011 to 14 F-150s and Raptors. And they also fit Super Duties, and a couple people have put them in Explorers and Expeditions also. But visit the website down below if you're interested, and pick up one of our paddle shifter kits so I can pay for this new engine. Thanks. Now that we got that off, we can pull out the thermostat housing plus this coolant pipe. It just pulls out, but there's an O-ring and they stick quite a bit. And that's gonna make a mess. I'll start taking off the valve covers. They're all 10 millimeter bolts. There's 11 on each side. And there's a bushing at the base of these, so they're all captive. They don't come all the way out. They'll stay in the valve cover. There we are. Now this is the cylinder where I expect to find issues. This is cylinder 6 on these. The way Ford lays these out, the cylinder numbering system, if you're looking at the front of the motor, it's start on your left-hand side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So since this is in there, in this vehicle laterally, that puts cylinder 6 right there. Next, we'll take off the VCT solenoids. 2 on each side. It's all just one 8 millimeter bolt all the way across. Slide out, and yeah, as to be expected, A little bit of debris on these, on the screens here. And since they're right here and easy to get to, we'll do the oil rails next. 3 8mm bolts on each rail, one rail on each side. All right, next we're gonna take off the harmonic balancer. It's an 18mm bolt, and then we'll have to put a puller on it. There's your bolt washer. And we'll get the puller hooked up to this. Okay, this is a special puller for harmonic balancers. It's got 3 little claws. There's a notch in each space for one of these claws to slide in. So you can get it set and then slide it over. So you'll get it hooked behind each of these 3 lugs. Put the claws in, make sure they're behind the lugs. And then put the rod in there. Then this bolt with the center hole goes over the rod. All right, now we can take the front cover off. There's actually 2 different sizes of bolts here. There's 10 millimeters, I believe, and I want to say 12, 13 millimeters. 4 of the 10 millimeters are at the bottom. The other 6 are at the top in this channel. Now we can pull this off. Oh my gosh, it is stuck. Ta-da! Okay, I'm gonna show how to install these just because it's a good opportunity. I really don't need to since I'm trashing everything in this motor, but these are the locking plates. Like if, let's say you were doing a timing job, keep these camshafts locked together. You slide these over these flats at the front of the camshaft, and then there's these 2 like hex forgings in here that you can use to rotate it a little bit so you can get them to slide into place. All right, that way you can take apart the timing system and they'll stay together. But there's a set like that on each side. I'll start taking off the timing components. We'll start with the tensioner. This guide, once you take off the tensioner, you can just slide it off if you can get the chain out of its cavity. There we go. 2 8mm bolts on this one. Long one at the bottom, short one at the top. That comes off. And there's 2 small ones up here. Usually you gotta take the phasers off, but we can take off this one at least. That little guy. Take off this chain. You cant it sideways. You can slide it through using that little flat spot right there. There we go. All right, and they're off. Crank gear slid right off, but it's keyed, as you can see. And then there's a dowel right there where it slides on, so you can't really fuck that up. And then these can be kind of stubborn because they are torque to yield bolts. They're a T55 plus. Sometimes if you have aftermarket phasers, it will be a T55, so just be aware of that. But if it's the OEM bolts, it'll be a T55 plus. And of course, these are being stubborn. Ideally, that won't happen to you. Plan B. Okie dokie. Since that happened, we're gonna go with plan B. We're gonna take off all the camshaft caps and take the camshafts out from the top. And there is no bearing on these caps. It is just the cap. There's a little bit of witness marks right there, but that one looks okay. There we go. You can see some deeper scoring over cylinder 6, which is the bad cylinder. Yeah, there's definitely some debris that went through that. Yep. Oh yeah. Way. Look at that. Almost up. Yeah, you can see that. Bad scoring on this one. There. This is the bucket that goes on top of the valve spring. Next up, the head bolts. There's 8 per side. They're all 15 millimeter. And these things are usually pretty freaking tight. Once you get them crack free, you can buzz them off. If you have a really good impact, you don't really need a breaker bar. You should be able to break them free, but I do not. So I got to break them free by hand first. That's what they look like. There's also one 8 millimeter bolt in each corner. All right, let's look at cylinder 6. Yikes. Oh. Fucking A. This one looks just as bad. No. I got both heads off so I can rotate it, and definitely found the issue. There's a lot of play in this cylinder, and there's our knock. Good old-fashioned piston slap. Okay, next thing, we're gonna take off the flex plate on the back. That is a 17 millimeter. 8 little short fine thread bolts. And this thing comes off pretty easily. Take off the ring for the crank sensor. All right, we'll take off the crank sensor. There's an access hole through here so you can take it off when it's still in the vehicle. It's a 7 millimeter. You don't see a lot of 7 millimeters on these, but this one actually is. Comes right out. And the knock sensor up top. There's one for each bank. It's a 10 millimeter bolt. That comes off. All right, we'll take the rear cover off. 8 millimeter bolts all around the perimeter, and there's gonna be some RTV down here. We're gonna have to break that seal. There should be 2 8 millimeter bolts that go in through the bottom also. You can see the nut studs right here, but they have already been removed. I don't know when or why, but they're not there. So we can get this cover off. Cool. I've got this thing on its back. Let's take off the oil pump and the water pump. Everything in here is 8mm bolts. Oh. Water pumps up top, and then oil pumps down below. Got it. There. Now we can get to the oil pan bolts. They're all 10mm all the way around the bottom. All right. Now I can tell this thing has had the living piss RTV'd out of it, so we're gonna have to break that seal and get this off of here. Got it. 8 13mm girdle bolts. Buzz all these out of here. There's the girdle. And here's our rotating assembly. Here's cylinder 6. And then this is cylinder 5. We'll take off the main caps first. There's 2 bolts in each one at the bottom, and there's 1 more in each side. And get the crank out of there so we can look at the rods. These are also all 13mm and for each one. Bearings don't look terrible. Not as bad as I thought. These 2 are a little rough though. There's some pretty good scoring in there. Rod cap bolts are all 11mm, kind of an oddball size. Oh, there's your crank. Let's flip this over. We'll start pulling pistons out. All right, here's our bad cylinder. And you can clearly see where this thing was rubbing on the cylinder wall. Not as much on this side, but a lot right there. Let's check out the cylinder wall. The cylinder wall surprisingly doesn't look terrible. If I really wanted to, I could probably actually reuse this block, but I really have no desire to do that. So I'm probably just gonna end up scrapping it all. It's kind of interesting, but that piston is obviously toast. So I guess that's what killed it. That. I guess that's pretty much it. I'm gonna clean up all this shit, go over whatever parts are salvageable, and scrap out the rest. Hopefully found some sort of information or, I don't know, entertainment out of this. See ya. I fucking forgot what I was gonna say.